From the first days of the special military operation, we have emphasized that our forces are inflicting targeted strikes exclusively on the objects of the military structure of Ukraine, which could threaten the Russian Federation regarding the aggressive anti-Russian course of the Kiev authorities. From the very beginning, we were ready to provide humanitarian corridors for both local civilians and foreign citizens who were in the Ukrainian territory at that time. Among these foreigners are citizens of China, India, and other countries, including African and Asian. And these issues were discussed in recent phone conversations between the leaders of China, India, and the Russian Federation. During the conversations, it was emphasized that the Ukrainian authorities are well aware of the proposals that are being made by our military. They discussed the situation in Kharkiv and around it, where there are many foreign students. Our military and the Ministry of Emergency Situations were ready and kept 150 comfortable buses with everything necessary. They were ready to accept a large number of foreign students, but the Kharkiv authorities refused to open the corridor. And the impression was created that the Ukrainian regime doesn't mind holding foreigners and civilians in general as hostages. At the talks between the Russian and Ukrainian delegations in Beloveskaya Pusha, the agreement on humanitarian corridors was announced. We expected at least, that this agreement would be implemented. Our military did all the necessary work. The most important thing now is to allow people to leave through the humanitarian corridors where the Russian military ensures security. But today we see reports from the Donetsk People's Republic that Mariupol authorities refuse to let people leave through the humanitarian corridor organized by the Russian military. So far our negotiators are waiting for information from the Ukrainian side. But just like previously, the situation looks strange. It seems that everyone is interested in reaching an agreement, but the most interested party, the Ukrainian one, constantly comes up with reasons to postpone the start of the next meeting. They are lingering, postponing the agreed deadlines. So far we have not received a new date confirmation. Since yesterday evening we were ready to advance for the third round. The constant embittered statements of Mr. Zelensky do not add optimism. He burst into invectives about the NATO meeting. He was a little rude to his curators and accused them of inaction. And I have a question. If he was upset that NATO did not stand up for him, as he hoped, then he still relies on resolving the conflict by involving NATO in this whole story, and not through negotiations? It turns out that he does not hear the constant statements that are heard from Washington, Paris, Berlin and other capitals, that NATO is not going to interfere in this conflict. It turns out that he seeks to provoke a conflict between NATO and Russia.